Hello, welcome to our video presentation of the evolution of early childhood care and education for the course of History and Philosophy of ECCD. Our e-tutor is Miss Faye Williams-Dixon. We are the group 4, the Mighty Five: Isaura Nunez, Heidi Debu, Tasha Gabriel Anthony, Kajal Philip, and Anastasia Smith. First, we start off with the history of early childhood education in Jamaica. Do you see the map there? This is Jamaica. The education of the 4 to 6 years olds have been in place for much of the 20th century in Jamaica. The early childhood education began in the late 19th century when a few women teachers could have taught a small number of children in primary and infant schools. In 1920s and 1930s, many more children began needing custodial care when mothers began to work in factories. It was then when churches and individuals came and supported the development of infant centers and private schools for the children who needed the out-home of care. It was unfortunate that despite many supported this, there was not enough space to provide children because of the limited number of available facilities and programs. It was not until the 1930s that an attempt was made to formalize a system of schools caring for young children. Reverend Henry Ward, the man you see in the picture, is the one who was credited for developing community schools that then became basic schools. In 1938, Ward alerted the Jamaican government to the critical need for more organized systems of care and training for preschool-age children. He presented much evidence. After so many attempts, then the first community organized school for children under 6 was established in Islington in the parish of St. Mary in 1938. Then, in 1941, Ward and his associates presented a report to the Jamaican Board of Education calling for the establishment of play centers as an integral part of Jamaican education system. These centers were to include organized play, stories, action songs, lesson on children, pets, and other familiar creatures, care of children garden, foundation work in reading, writing, and number work, and handiwork. Now, to put a face to the voice, I am Isaura, and it is very unfortunate that the Jamaican government took no recommendation or consideration to these programs. It is not until the 1960s when a Head Start program began in the United States, and this is when the Jamaican educators began to use this program to get some useful ideas. And it was stated that why, if this program started in social deprivation of Harlem, why it couldn't be able to start in the social deprivations of Jamaica. Since basic schools strongly rooted in the most deprived sections of Jamaica's society, there was a concept or strategy that could have been applied in the University of West Indies Institute of Education. The university worked to strengthen the education program based on the basic school concept. This was done under the guidance of DRB Grant and was funded by the Bernard van Leer Foundation from the Netherlands. Basic schools began to focus in part on economically disadvantaged children. In addition, they set new goals for enhancing the skills of teachers, improving the curriculum, developing teaching materials, and improving physical facilities. The innovative teacher program training developed during this time by Grant and his associates still serves as a model of Jamaican community-based programs, and several other developing countries have adopted it. Over the past 20 years, several other types of early education programs were developed in Jamaica for children under 6. These include infant schools, infant departments, and independent preparatory schools. Now I'll pass you on to Ms. Heidi as she will continue the presentation.
Jamaica has seen numerous changes over the decades. The 21st century in particular has seen many changes that facilitate the needs of early childhood education. We will look at how early childhood education in Jamaica has evolved over the last 10 years. In 2009, they saw the introduction of the Jamaican Early Childhood Curriculum Guide for children birth to 3 years. In 2010, the Jamaica Early Childhood Curriculum Guide for children 4 and 5 years were introduced. This brought with it the development of a curriculum guide for 3-year-olds, the revision of the curriculum guide for 4 and 5-year-olds, The development of supporting documents such as the scope and sequence and the conceptual framework for birth to 5 years, an integrated curriculum approach, fully trained and qualified teachers rather than paraprofessionals. The first preschool curriculum was written in 1973. It was then revised in 1983. The curriculum represents the first national effort that provided a curriculum for children from birth to 5 years old. It comes in two volumes, Part 1 addressing children from birth to 3 years and Part 2 addressing children from 4 to 5 year old. With the evolution of time and both parents working, it is noted that children spend more time in nurseries and preschool. The integrated curriculum approach is a model that places more emphasis on skill development across children's developmental domains through integrated and developmentally appropriate activities organized around themes familiar to the children. A second evolution that we can look at is one that is ensuring that all existing and new early childhood centers are able to meet the requirements needed for certification. The 3 year program that commenced in May 2016 targeted 300 ECIs, early childhood institutions, to be certified by 2019. These requirements are set out in the operational standards set for ECIs. The ECC Acting Executive Director reiterated that the overall undertaking is aimed at ensuring that over a period of time, positive changes in children are seen. She mentioned that this program would produce a Jamaican child that can compete with any child anywhere in the world at any time. The Early Childhood Commission Basic School Certification Program, which is currently underway island-wide, is ensuring that all early childhood institutions meet the 12 operational standards set by that body. The areas covered by the standards are wide and include staffing, developmental educational programs, interactions and relationship with children, the physical environment, indoor and outdoor equipment, furnishing and supplies, health, nutrition, safety, child rights, child protection and equality, interaction with parents and community members, administration, and finance.
To demonstrate how Piaget and Vygotsky theories influence changes in teaching method, one must first understand what teaching method existed prior to the entry into the picture of these two philosophers. First, in medieval time no emphasis was placed on child development. This is because children were merely seen as miniature adults. After that, during the Great Reformation period, one might have thought that significant transformational changes would have taken place with regard to child development, but this was not to be. It was not until the 17th century when English philosopher John Locke initiated research on the development of child that real changes began to take place. But the idea was very still strange. In Locke claimed that children were tabula rasa. Coming out of Locke's work, the behavioralism learning theory took its root. The behavioral learning theory claimed that children were really observers in the learning process. Children were passive learners and respond to what they are fed from the environment. Our behavior are really shaped through conditioning in much the same way as dogs salivate in response to prospect of food. John Piaget believed that the process of children were different to those of adults. Piaget philosophized that children learn in building blocks based on their stage of development and their environment. At each stage of development, children process information based on the intellectual growth. Piaget's work gave birth to the theory of cognitivism, which advances that children are active participants in their learning process. They engage their mind to process information based on their particular stage of development. Piaget's theory differs from others in many different ways, including the fact that if it's focused on development rather than learning per se, so it does not address learning of information or specific behavior. We see that Piaget's initiative, children are active participants in the learning process and that the approach still influences teaching method today. Another Russian psychologist who has played a huge role in understanding how children learn is Lev Vygotsky. His ideas have further elaborated the cognitive development theory of learning. He very much believed in child-centered approach to learning and that learning should be supported by the teacher. He also advocated for the benefits to be gained from the social interaction. Thus, his socioculture theory provides a prominent place for the role of the culture and the way in which children develop. For Vygotsky, cultural norms and more plays a major role in shaping the lives of children. He believed that it's important for children to interact with adults and also their peers, as this would help their own understanding of the world around them. UE 2019 states that the most important contributor of Vygotsky was that he has shown us how children efforts to understand the world around them, working in concert with teachers' sensitive, responsive interaction, rouse their young minds to life. Today we can see the evidence of Vygotsky's socio-cultural learning theory in the early childhood classroom. Every opportunity is provided for children in my classroom to actively participate in their learning activities. Some children are encouraged to suggest activities, but always they have guided by the classroom teacher. As you can see, these methods are significant different from the method that are used prior to the work of Piggott and Vygotsky.
Benefits to be derived by parents, the community, and other stakeholders in having an ECCE center in the community. Community is defined as a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. For children, a sense of community brings connection both to their surroundings and the individuals in those surroundings, further connecting them to their own unique place in the world. Parents, convenient. Living right next to a school eliminates wasted time. Parents don't have to spend any time transporting children before or after school. Safety. Children will have less chances of encountering predators or dangerous intersections if they live close to a school. Parents can see their children by simply looking out the window or standing in the yard. Community. Social interaction. Community gains meaningful relationships between parents and staff to collaborate, using all resources and to lobby for the best education possible for children. Thus, allowing students to develop academic and non-academic competencies for the advancement of the community. Economic gains. Teachers needing a place to call home and live. There are the day-to-day transactions such as grabbing a snack on break from the neighborhood shop, all of which benefit the community economically. Stakeholders, they gain the opportunity to share their views, needs, and knowledge by bringing the autonomy and flexibility in decision making and implementation policies in the school.
Good day, I am Anastasia Smith. I will be presenting Section 5. Select one other Caribbean country that is presently promoting and investing in the development of early childhood care and education. Highlight what is currently being done to effect or promote change in the three areas of infrastructure, staff training, and curriculum. In the Bahamas, nationwide testing is done at the 3rd and 6th grade levels called GLAT, Grade Learning Assessment Test, at the 9th grade called BJCs, Bahamas Junior Certificate, and at the 12th grade called the BGCSEs, Bahamas General Certificate of Secondary Education. It has been noted that at each level, there has been steady decline of the average result. So much so that the current national average at BGCSE level is a D. It was also noted that students in the private school sector who would usually attend preschool performed better. Therefore, the initiative began to, in time, change the nation's average by giving more students an opportunity to partake in the preschool experience. Infrastructure. In the first phase of the Universal Pre-Primary Education Initiative, the number of 3 and 4-year-olds enrolled in public preschools was increased by making accommodations for them available at public primary schools. Next came the Private Preschool Partnership Phase, PPP, that has increased the number of private preschool spaces available to families who are challenged to pay for preschool education. Beginning November 14, 2018, based on a contractual agreement distributed through the Department of Social Services, vouchers of up to $2,000 Bahamian dollars per child is being provided to secure the enrollment of children in approved private pre-primary schools. Staff training. The Ministry of Education hosts workshops and trainings regularly for each division of education, but more significantly to preschool. An allowance was granted to Mrs. Agatha Archer, the chairperson of the Preschool and Daycare Center Council, in 2016 to provide training for persons already working in the preschool education field that were not currently trained at a certification or associate's level. She started the Educators Upgrading Institute, a course that runs for 9 months, which gives basic teachings in areas like lesson plans, classroom decor, developmental milestones, classroom management methods, etc. Curriculum. In 2007, with the push of then Minister of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Carl W. Bethel, MP, the first Bahamian preschool curriculum was created. It encourages learning through the physical, social and emotional, creative, cognitive or intellectual, and language development of the child, and was developed by teachers. The goals of this curriculum outline the expected skills of each developmental area. Its creators emphasized the importance of communication, critical thinking, a positive self-esteem, creative expression, and physical development.